And now for something completely different.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Strap yourself in.
Because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
This podcast is proud to be part of the Talk Sport Fan Network. Talk Sport, powered by fans.
And now, here's your host.
He talks right, he knows his stuff, and he knows how to make a girl laugh.
Thank you. I'm here all week. Right, Chris.
Again, haven't I? Good evening. How the devil are we? I'll try that again unmuted. That might well. That's the third time I've done it today. Let me read those names off to you again. And we've got Joachim Lowe, we got Maurice Pochettino, Luis Enrique, Thomas Tuchel, Luis Fernandez, Zinedine Zidane, Frank de Boer, Steven Gerrard, Robert Perez, Rafa Benitez, Frank Lampard, Nathan Jones, Bruno Lage, Dunga, Ralph Husenhall, Jesse March. I once said, don't ask who we can get in who is better than Brendan Rodgers. I said, ask who is going to be out there that is worse. Scott Parker's available. Right, okay, let me just say, everything's going wrong tonight. I've even got, he'll deny he said it when he gets on, but he didn't know I was actually recording on my phone. Brad actually said, you know what, Scott Parker. So that's how bad you've got it. Claude Puel, let's not forget Mr. Puel, he's available as well. Look. Where do we go from here? It's been, third time I've muted myself. We've got no match of the day either. I know. What we're going to do on a Saturday night? Well, there's a couple of things you can do. Obviously, watch this first of all. And then go, if you didn't see me this morning, my new podcast, Life's a Pitch. Yeah, so what I did there. We are talking, Gary Lineker's right to say what he wants, or should he say it because he signed a contract with the BBC? Go and check it out. I may not say what you think I'm going to say. And then also tonight, ladies and gentlefolk, match of the day would usually be on at 10:30. Now I don't know if it is because the football focus at lunchtime was cancelled altogether. But we did have an edition of Bargain Hunt, and you can't go wrong with an old edition of Bargain Hunt. It was almost as exciting as watching Leicester play Chelsea. But if you're not doing anything at 10:30, you don't really want to watch that shit again, do you? Tune into this. GB News, Mark Dolan tonight. Mark Dolan, you may remember, if you're old gits like myself and Brad, he used to be the host of Balls of Steel. That was when entertainment was at its peak, I'm on there, 10:30, alternative match of the day, talking this match. God help me. I hope it's a delay in case I actually swear at all. But look, I'm not going to have a rant because I'd only be repeating what I repeated last week. Let's have a look what you guys have said, and then we'll bring my guest in. Michael Gamble said Rodgers got to go now. Scott says Brendan Rodgers got to go now. And then everybody's reminding me that I haven't got mute on. You can't hear me. Now, okay. You do have a voice. Well, to be honest with you, I don't know if I was screaming that much earlier. Same old merry-go-round, says Boris. Yeah. Paul Goody, evening, Chris. Taxi for Rodgers? I think Uber. I think he deserves an Uber. I'll start to just give him page up. Pearson, we might come on to the possible replacements later. Nate back. How do, Nate? How are you? Seen the score. How was it? You're going to get different opinions. I thought it was shit. Brad actually didn't think we played that badly overall. You make your own mind up when you hear it. Well, hear us. Balls of Steel. Love that show. Well, tune in at 10:30 tonight. GB News. It's just after Talk News or Talk Radio, whatever it is. Channel 4 Classic. It was. And talking of being a classic, let's put him in. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good day, goodbye, good night, good whatever. Brad, good evening. And you're on mute as well. I'll unmute you, don't you?
I know, you unmuted me as I unmuted me. And bloody, oh, for God's sake. I thought I'd join in the fun, mate. Oh,
you see, folks, it's not just me.
I know, it's just Leicester. It does this to your brain. But I'm just going to correct you there. I don't think we played well. It's just the performances have been so dire in the last week. So the fact that we actually improved and we're still bad tells you where we're at. That's exactly what I said. They were my exact words. I didn't say I was exactly pleased or with what I saw, but it's bad. I mean, I'm at this point now. Yeah, I mean, I joking with you backstage when we were talking Lampard and Scott Parker, but Brian Little, all is forgiven. Peter Taylor, after Stan Collimore's interview on this channel, all is forgiven. Mark McGee, I know you can fuck off, stay away. But, I take them back right now over this choice. Claude Puel, you're all forgiven. Come back and play the negative football. We love it. We love it here, Leicester.
Did you say Claude Puel then? Because I said that.
Yeah, bring him back. No, all is. Yeah, well, all is forgiven. Forget it. All is forgiven. Brian Little, Peter Taylor, Claude Puel. If you want the second crack of the whip, you can't do it. You weren't doing any worse than this clown. Come on. All is forgiven. Except for Mark McGee. He's just a twat. No one likes him. No.
I don't know if I can go as far as Peter Taylor. I
I'm just hurt, mate. I'm just being dramatic. I'm hurt.
Somebody mentioned David Pleat on the. I actually went, is he still alive? That's how bad it's got. Look, I mean, I thought once we scored the goal and got it back to 1-1, I thought we actually did play okay for a while after that. But it's just the basics. I mean, this was his lineup. He started off with this. If I can just get it up here, he says, "I can't." Yes, I can. No, I can't. Let's have a look. It is going to be one of those days today, isn't it? I tell you what pissed me off right from because I did say I wasn't going to have a rant, didn't I?
Yeah,
I lied.
You lied.
I lied. Rant incoming, everybody. Put the children away. Put them in the cupboard under the stairs. I was pissed off before the ball was even kicked. In the tunnel, every man and their dog on the Leicester side was shaking hands with the French Voldemort and hugging him. I just hope that one of our players had some Novacek on the edge of a ring or something. Because what the hell were they doing? James Maddison, he did not even look up and applaud your goal when you scored it against Southampton. That's what a dick he is. And there were you. Oh, it's nice to see you again. Chilwell, I kind of understood, but no, come on.
It is. It's baffling. But this is the most annoying thing, mate. I loved the lineup. I was buzzing to see the lineup. Yeah. Okay, Amati was in there, but Amati makes me worry. Vestergaard, well, is the only other option because we know Solange doesn't exist in this team. He's a figment of our imagination, fans. So I don't even class it as the fact that he's fifth choice centre back. Amati, he is third choice. That's why he's there. But I was excited nonetheless. I thought, okay, he's going to, and I called it in the post in the watch along, didn't I? I said it was a 5-3-2, and it was that was to make us go to a 5 in the midfield when we had the ball. And I thought this team could do things here, and for the bit parts in that, especially in that first half, like you say, until they scored, and then after we got that equaliser, you had that little bit of feeling of going, okay, if we can get the next goal and get our noses in front, we could win this. And then it just kept being shite creep. But I mean, I said this, and this is what I mean, like, better performance in the last 2 games in terms of showing actually anything going forward. But it sums it up when Chelsea and Leicester making the same amount of mistakes as each other, and they're scoring 3 of theirs, and we're only still scoring 1.
Yeah.
That's the biggest gripe you have with a performance like this.
I panicked. I'm not going to be honest. I said to you, I've got a dicky tummy at the moment at the best of terms today. And when I saw the lineup and the BBC had put Amati where Barnes normally plays, I was having an absolute, like, what? But finally they worked it out and realised that he wasn't playing an attacking left midfielder. But, I mean, I just don't know what to say because, I mean, we beat very poor on the day Aston Villa, extremely poor Tottenham Hotspur. Other teams around us are not doing what they should. Liverpool, what the bloody... 3 times Liverpool, I've asked you for help this season.
Don't swear at me with Liverpool. I'm still annoyed at them.
What score did you predict again, Brad?
I foolishly went against my own instincts, and I predicted Liverpool to win 3-0 only mere seconds after saying I can, however, see Bournemouth sneaking this 1-0.
But you didn't go for 1-0, did you?
I know, I didn't. I went 3-0 Liverpool.
No, you went 3-0 Liverpool. You're quite right. You're quite right.
I know.
I mean, it was a weekend of VAR, but Liverpool could not. Like I say, they didn't do us a favour against Nottingham Forest. They didn't do us a favour against Leeds United, and they didn't do us a favour against bloody Bournemouth. What? I mean, let's just for 1 second. We're not the shittest team when it comes to performances because we beat 4-1. We beat Tottenham Hotspur, and then we went and lost 4-0 to 3-0, to Man United. They beat Man United, their biggest rival, 7-0, and then went on to lose to Bournemouth 1-0.
Yeah, but that's the 9-0 curse, mate, because we beat Southampton 9-0 and went on to lose to them 2-0 or 2-1 at King Power? Yeah. So 9-0 curse, and no, Rodgers has still made us the worst team going in this division. It's only because there's 4 teams that have mathematically, less than us in either points or goal difference that we're not also statistically placed as the worst team in this division right now because it's just annoying. It's just annoying. It's annoying to watch.
The camera picked out Gary Lineker and Peter Shilton. in in the crowd.
There'll be some fans in the
Wasn't a
comment that want Peter Shilton back in goal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're not going to do a. I can't be asked. That's how fed up I am. I cannot be asked to do a player ratings tonight because I would argue with you. I know because I would be giving every one of them, apart from possibly Maddison and Mendy, no higher than a 2. And I'm not saying that we've not had worse performances, but we how many times have I said this, Brad? We cannot do the basics. What colour were we playing in?
Well, you'd think it was blue, but sometimes it's not that obvious.
No, it's not, because they seem to like passing the ball to players in yellow. And in fairness, Chelsea kind of often like passing it to a player in blue. But we went, oh, excuse me, Mr. Chelsea, you've passed it to me by mistake. Here, have it back. That's how bad we were.
Yeah, but do you remember them fans that when we were saying all this about Leicester's performances and Leicester's ability to crumble back in September and October? It will sort itself out, be fine, stop moaning, we'll be all right, we're fine. We're in March, and we're still passing it to nobody. We're still passing it into space. We're still not reading the game. We're still losing games. We're still struggling to defend. So when do I start worrying? Do I start worrying when I wake up on August the 31st and realise I'm not sat at Leicester versus Newcastle in a Premier League game? I've actually turned up to a Leicester game and we're playing Stoke. Is that when I start worrying that we might be relegated? I don't know.
Be a Tuesday night. Remember that.
Oh no, only away. It has to be away. This will be a home game. I want to go to Stoke. Yeah, see.
That's a fair point. Fair point.
So when do we have the right to start worrying and start wanting change? Because we're in the same slump and same crap defending that we were at the start of the season. When people tell you there's loads of games to go, it's running out now, so it's getting even more panicky.
I think felt I did what everybody else did, and we're going to talk about the game itself in a minute. But I just want to talk about the overall. There's just a malaise about the club at the moment. I don't think Top was there again. I don't know. Maybe somebody needs to send in videos of these things. But just before the World Cup, I think he saved his job. I think he would have gone then had he not had that run of decent results. The problem is there were decent results, and no disrespect, against crap teams.
Yeah, although they're going to be teams we need to be picking up points off in these last.
Well, they're not 11. Now. We're crapper, but you know what I'm saying. The team we weren't. You know, when you looked at who we'd beaten, we shouldn't really have been probably as confident as we were.
No, we had no right to be confident. Even when we did start to play these teams in a run of games, it was nothing to be confident about. We had no reason to be. And you know, you said there seems to be something about Leicester, and I said this to you backstage, so I'm going to say it now, right? I know I've already said his name tonight, but Peter Taylor, that was that horrible pre-season under Taylor where everybody was ditched out of the club. He wrecked the club, ripped it limb from limb, and brought in his own aquatics. You know, like I said about it with Stan Collymore, fair play to the guy, you know, doesn't hold no malice. Peter Taylor wanted to do it different. It was a disaster, okay? Then we had the Malaga incident. You know, pre-season, what an absolute disaster. What did them 2 seasons have in common, Chris? Two things in common in them seasons. Yeah. So we had 2 disastrous winners for one reason or another. We had 2 disastrous pre-seasons for 2 completely different reasons, and it ended in relegation. We've had a disaster of a pre-season. Secrets kept between owner and manager, it seems, misinformation, withholding the information, not being willing to tell the honest truth because they were scared to admit that they weren't going to have the funds available, which we were praying and hoping for. Torrid pre-season, the Fofana incident, the French Voldemort that he is, the 6-2, the 5-2 when the season got going kind of merits that. What's that famous saying? History has a funny habit of repeating themselves, and if you don't learn from your mistakes, you keep making them.
What goes around comes around.
Yeah.
On that point, then we'll go to some comments.
Yeah.
Do you remember what happened last time we were about to move into a new stadium?
Yeah, we got relegated.
Well, we did two things. We got relegated, yep. We also went bust. Now, I don't think we're going to go bust, obviously.
No.
90 million. I mean, the chairman's... The problem was we spent a lot of money trying to be in the top four and ending up fifth. And we did, that did not come, not at a cost, if you know what I mean. But he's written off a lot. But we've still got 70 million to go against that we got in for the sale of Fofana. That won't be in until next season's accounts, which may look better because we'll certainly have more games if we're in the Championship. But if I was Top, and I want to give Top a bit of advice here, don't build the stadium yet. Because if you're going and undoing it and we go down, it's going to be one huge empty stadium. Because if you've got clubs like Luton, Milton Keynes, I don't know what other clubs, Bristol City, other clubs, no disrespect to them, we ain't going to be filling that stadium. And I just think, let me ask you this. Craig gets absolutely peed off because I always say to him, if we lose it, is this going to be Rodgers' last game? And I think that pretty much the sense of opinion is he will probably be here till the end of the season. I don't think it's ever too late to sack a manager.
I think there can be. I think there can be, or not so much too late, but you make a sacking when you're pre-planning for next season. So normally it's never too late because any manager can come in and regalvanise a dressing room and the whole reason the words great and escape go together, not just because of the movie, but teams have done it. Not necessarily by sacking managers, but it has been done through a manager coming in and changing the fortune sometimes. So it's never too late, but sometimes you do get a sacking where it's just, well, we ain't staying up. So let's prepare for next season. We don't want you as our manager for next season. So we're going to make the change now. But there comes a point where you watch them actually go out there and try and play attacking football. And yes, I did say that right. They did try and play football today with very little success in the greatest aspects of things when you look at it. And I'm just worried, could it technically be already too late to get someone in to regalvanise that dressing room and get them going? Has Top played himself in this way? And now he's going to be forced to keep Rodgers and put his hands together and pray, like we're all doing as football fans. Whether you're religious or not, you're praying it now that Leicester do enough to stay up and then sort it out in the summer. And that's what he's gambling with. And it's the same gamble he took with allowing the money to be spent, not knowing if we're going to be in Champions League or Europa League. The gamble's fine unless it doesn't pay off. And that's where we're at now.
I think you have to look at examples. Who was it? Sam Allardyce, was it West Brom or Sunderland? I think Sunderland, wasn't it? He went to and he kept them up very late. David Moyes, the first time at West Ham, he kept them up. I honestly think Nigel Pearson may well have kept Watford up, but they sacked him with 2 games to go, which might be a bit silly. So it doesn't work for Watford, but it can work. And I want to look at last season and Burnley, who are probably going to be replacing us because we'll be going down as they're coming back up. They tried it last season. They got rid of Sean Dyche. And they gave the job to Ben Mee, didn't they, as a caretaker manager, player, captain. Yeah. And for about 3 or 4 games, he actually started winning. And it actually gave them hope. As Dan said, they took the shackles off. He let them play. He gave them, renewed vigour, renewed hope. All right, I think it was the wrong thing because he hadn't got the experience to carry that through. And after the first couple of games, it kind of fell apart. But had they not changed, they'd have been, I think, in a worse position. And I just think anybody coming in now, I just think, will it just give it that lift that it needs?
It's a strong possibility. You know, time will tell you that it's worked and it's happened again. The biggest problem you're in now is, you know, without knowing where Leicester are going to be playing their football next season, and it's real talk. Real talk. Look at that table and don't tell me it's not real talk that we don't know where we'll be playing next season with how things are going and how tight it is in that bottom 14, probably even up as high as Crystal Palace aren't out of it because they're on 27 points and that. So until Leicester are in a position, any big-ish sort of name or very experienced manager isn't going to really chance their arm at taking that job. And then you're looking at your short-term options, and then you're looking at what has happened before, and that is, you know, it's all well and good if it gives us a bounce, but a manager earns his graft when the players look to him after a defeat or a bad performance and how he mentally gets them ready and prepares them for that game. And that's when the likes of a Shakespeare gets offered a 2-year deal because he just told them, go and play football, and got away with it. Not got away with it, but they kept playing football. And then when the next season started, and went, right, Gaffer, what do you want us to do? He went, go play football, because that's as much as I actually... No, I don't really know how to do it. That's when we have a Shakespeare that also gets run out of a job by bad performances. So Leicester are in a very precarious position, not just in the league, but in what they do from this stage forward with regards to a manager. Because would and I know he's not available, but would Sean Dyche look at Leicester now and go, yeah, I want to take that job? I'm not saying if he wasn't at Everton, he was still unemployed, and Leicester went, no.
Oh, if he was unemployed, yes, I think he would.
I mean, maybe. Then that's the caliber of manager. But let's just say the names you named at the start. Let's say, and you know what I think of him, Joachim Low or Thomas Tuchel, Pochettino, right? Who, in the grand scheme of things, Leicester, a Premier League Leicester, can still sell the fact that they're a club that have a chance to regain that status back in the European side and maybe convince them enough to come in and do a job. But would they do it now? Not a chance. But if Leicester are now, like I said, are in that position where if they stick with Rodgers, he's gone in the summer. See the job out, get us safe, have your payoff, fuck off, Pochettino, somebody, whoever, get that big name in, get that experienced manager in, even if it's not someone like that. I'm just using them as the example.
I know. I mean, and I agree.
Otherwise, we're stuck with a bloody Nathan Jones for 8 months before he tells them he's stopped being the best friend.
The problem you've got there is I agree 100%, but we know deep down Joachim Low, Thomas Tuchel, Zinedine Zidane, who was the other one we mentioned, Pochettino, they're not going to come to Leicester. As a club, we are not in the same league, not points-wise, but we will never be, in our lifetimes, as big as Manchester United. We will never have the budget to give them like Manchester City have. You know, we haven't got the history that Liverpool have. So I don't think we can compete with them. Nathan Jones was an experiment that went wrong. Look at the gamble we took. Yes, but look at the gamble we took on Martin O'Neill.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Sometimes it goes well, and it nearly didn't go well for Martin O'Neill. That was a gamble.
It didn't.
That was a gamble on that Sheffield United game that we stuck with him, and obviously the rest, as they say, is history. Look at Nigel Pearson. He's sacked. No, I don't think we should sack him just yet. All right, we'll stick with him a bit longer. Look what happened with him. You know, who would have thought Claudio Ranieri would have done what he did? So there's a lot. I do get your point, and I think Nathan Jones just unfortunately. He seemed to be doing all right at Luton, and you know they always say like, "Oh, why don't these British managers get more chances?" Maybe because they're shit. But I want to read you this though. Right, this is the bottom. You can see the table there. And in fairness, I probably clipped the wrong table. And guys, stick with us. We are going to come to the comments soon. I promise you. Just sorry, my phone's going. I just want to check that it isn't GB News. What can I say? I'm just, I don't know, I'm with all the, I've just been sent the link for that tonight. Southampton, the last 5 games, 1-2. Leeds United, the last 5 games, 1-1. West Ham United, last 5 games, 1-1. AFC Bournemouth, last 5 games, 1-1. Leicester City, last 5 games, 1-2. Everton, 1-1. Nottingham Forest, 1-1. Wolves, 1-2. Palace haven't won any. The difference with us is we are the only team in that bottom lot that's not getting draws.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing, because you could sit there and look at that table and think, well, it's not that bad. Had we, say, gone to Southampton and got a point, and had we snuck a draw against Arsenal or something like that, it's more worrying for Leicester because we're not picking up a lacklustre point. We're not, we're getting spanked around the park at home by Fulham. And credit to them, having a great season, but Leicester should be going out there fighting to get at least a point out of it, giving everything. Games like that, Chris, they're the ones that are crucial to us. We lost to Southampton, we lost to Fulham, and again, I know Fulham had a good season, but we should be able to get points off them. It's just annoying, and that's the thing where I think if Leicester do get relegated, they'll be looking at the fact that they just crumbled under pressure and couldn't hold on and take valuable points when they needed it.
Yeah. I'm just going to put a poll up. He's not very happy, but I've told him he can't lay on the floor. Just about Brendan Rodgers. Craig said to me the other day when we did the programme, and he said it a couple of weeks ago, and he reminded me the other day, talking about the draws. He said it's the draws that could, like we've just said, make the difference. But what also can make the difference, if you look at that, and again, I say it's a really, really bad, I should have used a different league table, but we've got -9 in the goal difference table. Forest -26, Everton -18, Bournemouth -26. Okay, West Ham -10, Leeds 11, but Southampton -21. That might make the difference, mightn't it? You muted yourself, Brad.
It's because I can hear myself back through your screen or whatever it is. I can hear myself back through yours, so I was just muting.
You're actually not echoing tonight at my end.
Oh, well, it's just this phone. I hate it. But yeah, it could come down to that, and that's why we need to stop getting our asses kicked each week. We need to actually start grinding out a 1-1, grinding out a 2-2. You know what I would take in a weird sort of messed up way? I would take us grinding out a game like we did against Brighton. When we drew 2-2 and we actually at least came away with something instead of losing that game, which we nearly did. Right, I'd have been happier with that today. I'd have been happy with that against Southampton. Because at least then we'd have something to buffer us as well as that goal difference. Because it's going to say a hell of a lot of this season. If come the end of the season, Leicester are 17th on, and I said this a while ago, and I'm clearly proven, and it could be the case, I think you need 35 points to stay up the season. I think that might do it for you. And that's 2 points we could be doing with. That's 2 points that we could be doing a lot more with and having something to kitty. Because if it gets to the end of the season, we're 17th on, say, 33 points. Yes. And West Ham or Leeds or wherever on 33 points, and they go down because we conceded or scored more goals. Is
it bad that we are actually thinking that we might only stay up on goal difference or by a 1 point and that could have been a draw that we threw away?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just, it is. It's awful to have to talk about it, but it's where we are. It's what we're doing. It's what we're seeing week in, week out. What has that team or what has that manager done to convince us that we won't be in this relegation battle, and we are going to perhaps rely on other teams being shiter than us this season? YouTube, forgive me if that's the word because I said shiter. So it's.
No, I didn't. I was concentrating here. Only 4 votes in at the moment, but the question is, if Rodgers keeps us up, does he stay next season?
Nope.
Yes, no, and in honour of Brad being in the chat, don't know. So there's a fence in there for you to sit on if you want. No's just gone ahead, literally, by
sack
one
it.
vote.
As soon as the season's end, that's when you make the big payoff when you bring in the new guy.
Somebody's gone, don't know. I knew they would. Somebody's gone, don't know. I want to read you, if you bear with me, because we always like to know what Brendan's got to say after a match, don't we?
No.
And I'm just going to try and find it. Where are we? While I'm doing that, because it's not where it was, a bloody Mercury keep changing things around. This did make me chuckle on the Leicester City website. Earlier in the week, Castagna says, we have no excuses. Well, I'll tell you what, I bet Brendan's got 3 or 4 or 5 tonight.
Yeah, God, I bet he'll blame the rain that came down in the game. He'll blame the officials. I mean, they were poor. They were actually poor. Not I'm excusing them, but they were a 3-hour documentary we could do talking about the poor officiating in this country. I mean, we're excuses. What excuses can you have? But unless you're going to study the 1001 Jurgen Klopp excuses book, I don't know what excuses you can give. There is no excuses. Castagne's right. There's no excuses for a performance like that. There's no excuses to giving them goals. You know them delicate little finishes that look great, mate? They're laughable and disastrous to defence because they were 5-a-side finishes.
Yeah.
They were a 5-a-side team there that didn't know how to defend and just kick the ball away, and that was their only way to defend and wouldn't go near you because they don't know what they're doing. It's just... I don't thought I'd say this, but thank God for Johnny Evans being back. Because at least if you play for 3 at the back, Johnny Evans will be in there over a Martin. We'll have someone who can sit deep.
I was going to come on to that later. I'm sure Dave will have something to say about Marty being back. Rogers on the game says, I think he was harsh on the team. By the end, when it gets to 3-1 and you're down to 10 men, that last 10 minutes, players of that quality can keep the ball and hide the ball from you. What did they do? They actually shove it up the jumper, Brendan. So you can come off dejected. But for large parts of the game, we were right in it. Were you at another match? I mean, at one point, it showed that Rogers was sat there and he got his notebook and he's like, no. Now, I immediately thought of somebody sat at school, you know, when they're writing them, I love you. Will you see me after school tonight? Because the next shot, it went to Graham Potter, who was then also writing down on a bit of paper his reply. Yes, I love you, Brendan. I'll meet you in the bar afterwards. We conceded a poor goal from the corner, but tonight our way back in, but fought our way back in and scored a really good goal. We should have scored before that with Dan and Marty's header. We finished the first half really well. No, we finished the first half conceding a goal. We regrouped at half-time, apparently. The players came out and started on the front foot. We had a couple of big chances and couldn't put them away. If you don't, especially against good sides, they can punish you, which was what happened in the end. Good sides? They're not a good side, though, are they? We know that. They're becoming one again. But Jesus.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're a good side on paper in terms of the caliber of the players. You can't question that. They have got some talented players in there, but they're not the most brilliant Chelsea in terms of confidence right now. I know they got the Borussia Dortmund result, which would have got them going, but they weren't. They, like you said, Chris, there was some spells in there where they were on edge. They were looking a bit frail, and we saw it. I mean, we got the goal from it in a weird way because Chelsea got a bit nervy at 1-0. And the thing is, like I said to you, had we got through these last 4 games before this one and we'd got better results, we'd probably be sat here going, oh, well, you know, Chelsea had a bit of luck. We had a bit of luck. It was actually a decent game. Both sides just get the ball away. It was one of them. But it's the fact that we're on such a slump as well. It makes every mistake we make 20 times, 50 times, 100 times worse. Whatever number you're thinking of, double it in your head, and that's how worse it really is. A stray pass gets scrutinised, and everything's just bad to see. I mean,
Kieran's still at the stage of his career. He's not a regular goal scorer. I know he'll be disappointed. I'm happy that he's there. It's just about the contact. I can't blame Kieran Dewsbury Hall because at the end of the day, we're human. They're human. And sometimes if it's a wet ball or you just don't make the right contact. Even Messi and Ronaldo, make mistakes like that. My worry is that we've got this great coach that loves dealing with the youth, and yet Barnes had so much potential but seems to have hit a brick wall. Kieran Dewsbury Hall hasn't improved. And if you've got to say, is this as good as they get, then that's the worrying thing.
The blame goes to the manager. The style of play doesn't allow them to be as effective as they are. I mean, again, I know we're not doing the match ratings, but again, Dewsbury Hall, if I was to give him one, it'd be he tried, but he just wasn't as effective as he has been when he first started.
We'll go through Jordan's ratings and just have a chat. I won't do the full thing on screen because they don't deserve it.
No, they don't. But they're the two players that you look at, and there's other players as well that you look at and go, well, the blame's on the system, how he asks them to play and how they go out and play the game and the way they're trained to do things differently on the pitch. So a lot of it to me falls at the manager for that, because he's the one that's restricting them playing in positions or playing in a manner that best suits them to individuals. I mean, for me, Dewsbury Hall, I just wonder though, if Daka or Nacho, who isn't the most flavour of the month at times, I know we're a bit more on board with Nacho, maybe because he's been here longer and we've seen what he can do in a season. But I just wonder if one of them had missed that Dewsbury Hall chances, would people have been slating him, saying this is why we don't start him, this is why that? And I don't know if maybe because he's boyhood he gets a little bit away with it, but that was Akinbaye-esque, that miss. Let's face it. It summed up our performance. We had a golden opportunity to rob a point, like I've been saying all show, and like you said we need to be doing. We had a chance to rob a point, and he Akinbayed it.
Yeah, he did. Can I just say though, I as you know, I wasn't keen on predicting against my team, but I got a point. And yeah. I think I deserve the point more than the club deserve the point in the Premier League. Right, let's just go. We're going to have to go through some chats because, guys, you make your comments, so we're going to go through them now. 33 of you in the chat. Was 36 a second ago. Please make sure you press that subscribe button if you are new, and be sure to smash the likes as well. It does help. And if you are feeling rather generous, just for $1.99 of your good English pounds a month, you can become a member. And we're going to start, once we get a few more in, we're going to start having member-only shows and things like that. So get it, $1.99 a month. What value? What can you get for? We can't even get a pint of beer for $1.99 a month. Does sound convincing. Anthony, I think I've done that one, the match of the day. Like I say, GB News, guys, don't forget, we are there tonight. Be sure to be there or be square. GB News, I don't know, 236 or 7, I think it is on YouView. 10:30, talking football. The new Alan Shearer? Mind you, I don't think that's. I'm more likely with the new Michael Owen, aren't I? Paul Goody says, "Pleat in, face blue smiling." I think that was actually an emoji that just didn't appear. Steve Smart, good evening. I think we were unlucky today. Should have had a penalty. We'll come on to that because you mentioned that earlier. Missed some good chances. Things just don't go Rodgers' way at the moment. He buys Christensen, starts playing well, brings our best in Barnes. He's got injured. Yes, but who got him injured? I mean, fair play to Rodgers. He got him through some training sessions of full of snow with no broken legs or twisted ankles, but still. Unfortunately for Rodgers, the gods are trying to say it's not working. Let's change the manager, something new and fresh. David Herstovic, that goal we gave up before half was pathetic. Everybody ball watching. got a lot to say about that goal, believe you me. Danny Ward is never a number one Premier League goalkeeper on God's green earth. You know, you're starting to turn me, guys. You're starting to turn me. Reality is the team that scores more than their opponents win. Hey,
All right, Owen.
Nothing
there he goes.
He gets past you, does it, eh?
He's there with the Owen quote. Like it, Terry. Love it.
Yes. Forget performance. We can't score. End off. Boris phases a farcical fake. David Herstovich. What was this week's training video like, Brad?
Pass into space, move, pass. That's it. Good lad, Cags. Good lad, Cags. Good lad, pass, move, get it back, retrieve it, first to it. Same as last week, mate. If I just give you an audio, that's for the audio listeners out there. Because you can't visually see it, I can't do a show for you. That's exactly what it was like, mate. Pass into space. That was the key I heard, mate. That's what the training video was like.
Yeah, they pass into space. That's fine, but there's nobody on the bloody end of it.
Well, there is. It's an opposition, mate. They're not been clear enough.
That's true. Top was there according to Radio Leicester. It didn't come up. I didn't see him on the screen, and normally they would focus in on him.
I think Lynex had stole the spotlight, greedy git.
Yes.
I think he did
Brendan
that.
Rodgers only has a plan A. Does he? I mean, not that he also has a B. What I mean is, does he even have an A?
Unfortunately, he just has a pla.
A plun. He's got a plun. Unfortunately, we haven't got our best 11 fit. Brendan doesn't have a clue. Boris, if the tickets were a £5, you might fill it. I think he's referring to the stadium next season. Steve, it will be too late if they sack him at the end of the season and we are relegated. See, that's it exactly. That is my point exactly, Steve. Big Ant's in. Does Brendan have shares in Leicester? Is that why he's not sacked? No, we don't know. We don't. I mean, the thing you've got to think of, I guess, is, and I understand Top saying, look, Brendan, we had a bad start to the season, but I wasn't there for you in the summer. I couldn't give you the money that we discussed to do that refresh because of FFP. Wasn't my fault. It came along, but it buggered the plans up. We didn't sell Tielemans to get money in so we could buy players. And we've got to accept that we are now buying in the 20 million bracket rather than the 30, 40 million bracket. So I can understand him sticking by him. I really can. But there has to come a point, like I say, it's never too late to sack a manager until you're actually relegated. Then what's the point? I don't know whether he's got shares or not. No, you don't. It's on YouTube. Yeah, wait, it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. It's on YouView. It's on Sky. Just search GB. It's with the other newses. So if you find BBC, the news starts with BBC News, BBC Parliament, Sky. I think you've got Al Jazeera in there as well somewhere. And then you've got, I think it's Talk Radio, and then you've got GB News. God, I need to get out more, don't I? James is in. Evening, lads. How are you? Hit the likes and subscribe, indeed. Please do. Feeling more confident after today, James? Because of course Everton won. Everton are only a point behind us. Not good for you, Luke, was it? Not good for you. They're all talking Everton there. Of course, of course, he'll stay till his greatest accomplishment. As I've put on the website today, the quote that he said, "If I keep Leicester up, it'll be my greatest accomplishment." But he's failing at that, so I don't know what that means. Let's have a look. They're all talking Everton at the moment. I don't. I put don't know. Oh, this was in the vote. Nate's put I put don't know because I was sure he'd be gone by now, and he's still not. Chris Hurst says, agree with Brad, might have to feign fullback so Rodgers puts an effort in, they get rid of when safe. I hope it's a start of a run, Luke, but with the games we are coming up, that's Everton again. I feel your pain, lads. If Rodgers does keep you up, he shouldn't be there next season. As far as I'm concerned, you need fresh ideas. I couldn't even palm him off to West Ham the other day. I was on the chat, and the guy in the West Ham chat on the side said, "Did you want to swap Brendan Rodgers for David Moyes?" I said yes, but Jake shot me down and said that they didn't want Brendan Rodgers either.
No, I don't blame them.
We should have got a draw out of this game. Looking back at our chance, at least we had chances. I mean, we had 12 shots in this game, and I think the last time I looked, 5 or 6 of those were on target. Rodgers won the FA Cup, 2 top finishes in Europe. My argument to people who don't know, how many seasons ago was that? Eventually things go wrong at clubs, don't work anymore. Luke, Brian Clough, probably your greatest ever manager. And we all love Brian Clough. Nobody here would say that they would not have wanted Brian Clough at their club. You know, he did the tour of East Midlands clubs. He just stopped before he came to Leicester. But whatever he achieved in, winning the European Cup twice, winning the Premier League or First Division, whatever it was at the time, is forgotten because the last thing he did before he retired, apart from having one drink, probably too many, was getting you relegated. Like you say, you can stay. You have managers, players, they all have sell-by dates.
Yeah.
The last time Chelsea won away was the 16th of October until they met us. Not only developing players, but players that like Soyuncu have completely disappeared. Allegedly, I don't know if he has or not, but he's supposed to have signed not a prenup, but you know what I mean, a pre-agreement with Atletico Madrid. And who wouldn't want to go to Atletico Madrid? Let's be honest with you, or stay at Leicester. Harry Enfield, they don't want to do that. Dissing Gary? Who's dissing Gary? Oh, tonight. You wait. To tune into. The goals you gave away were avoidable. Sack Rodgers. He said that once. He said it twice. So good you named it twice. He sounded as if he knew it was the end in his Radio Leicester interview. We can but hope. And Evans crawled into the team via the cat flap. I'm going to be honest with you, and I'll mention this now because I was quite scathing. I'm like, what the hell are you doing bringing on, Evans with 2 minutes and 4 minutes of injury time to go. But in fairness, Faze had been sent off, and knowing Leicester, we could have let in a couple of goals then. And bringing on Evans for the last 6 minutes or so, he had to do it anyway. He had to get him back into the playing habit, didn't he?
Yeah, and Jesus Christ, there's the sentence I never thought I'd say. Johnny Evans, can you channel in your inner Robert Hoof, please? Because we're going to need you for this run-in. And I know a certain Craig won't like to hear them words, but you have 3 centre-backs on the pitch today, and not a single one of them could hold that anchor roll down and know what to do with it. At least Johnny Evans knows how to sit there because he don't move any forward because he's old. But if this is it going forward, please get Johnny Evans in there and not Amati. Please, for the love of Christ.
Robert's in. Good evening, Robert. I hope you are well. It's great to see you back with us all and back on your channel as well. Glad to see. It was really nice to see you the other day. Big West Ham fan, and he said he'd have Rodgers over Moyes any day of the week and twice on a Sunday. My God, I told you stop drinking in the afternoon.
It's bad for your health.
That. Do you think Evans will be starting soon? Well, we've got no Faze.
Yeah,
he's out
please.
the next game. So the option is Amati or Vestergaard if we don't start Evans. And I think Evans.
No, I'd rather wheel Johnny Evans out on a wheelchair.
Yeah. I do as well. You will stick with Faze, he can't stick with Faze because, like I say, he's going to miss the next game. After that, it will be interesting to see some nice football, but it's about that winning mentality. It certainly is. Nice for you to join us. I'm not going to attempt to say your name because I know that I'll get it wrong. Trapper says everyone knows that the failure of the ball to timely replenish the roster in the summer is the reason with the situation we're in. Pennsylvania, good evening, sir. Welcome along. Yeah, it probably is, but I don't. On this occasion, I don't think you can blame the board. You can blame the board for not sacking Rodgers, yeah, but I don't think you can blame the board for not replenishing because we had the FFP. Now we didn't know it was going to be a shit season like this, did we, Brad? You know, we thought, oh, we could be challenging for Europe, and if we hadn't done what Top did, we wouldn't have been allowed into Europe because of FFP. Would you agree with that? Yeah.
Yeah, I would. I would rather have him in than a Marty, because he'll just put the foot through the ball. He'll get rid of it. He'll put him on his arse and he'll sit back so they don't just do this when the ball goes over the top. There's as much as I've loved FaZe and that since I've joined today for at least 2 goals technically. I think one was ruled out for offside. It was at Muric or whatever. But twice today, the ball ended up in the back of a net. And say what you like about Danny Wood. I'll come straight out on that one. Say what you like about Danny Wood right now. What the hell's he supposed to do when 2 of his 3 centre-backs do this? There's ball. There's ball. Oh, there it goes. Oh, shit. Now they're at a goal. Oh, well. Because that's what happened today. That's the really baffling thing. He had 3 central defenders on that pitch for the majority of the game, and twice they all got caught going, there's a ball, there it goes. How does that mentality...
You know, just going back, and I'd forgot. You do forget when these players are out for so long. And I tell you what, I didn't recognise, and that was Ricardo. He looked completely different today. I was calling him every other player's name but his own. When we say about sacking Rodgers and who can we bring in and all this, that, and the other, I tell you, somebody said this to me, and I don't know whether they're joking or not, but I actually thought, do you know what? I can see some logic in that, and that is, till the end of the season, give it to Johnny Evans.
I mean, he's been sat in the dressing room with Alex Ferguson, but what's he like? What's he like as a person?
Well, we don't know, do we? We don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's captain material. He's got a leadership, obviously. Yeah. I mean, he's been a leader for club and country.
He'll have the players' respect.
Yeah, club and country. Could we do really worse for these last 10, 12, 9 or whatever games it is we've got left this season? It's a shout. You know, you say you can't sack 15 players, you can sack the manager. Well, I mean, look, we're already at that point where we're hoping and praying, and we're probably waiting for Leicester to do a rebuild this season. Like I said, Leicester and nobody, not a single fan, was begrudging Leicester's owners doing and investing the money the way they were when things were going well. It was a risk. We knew the outcome, and the owners knew it. The only thing is, the owners were thinking they could get away with it enough and still be able to spend a little bit and then sell a player this season at the end of this season, and it wouldn't be such a stretch for them. But yeah, FFP caught up and everything. But Johnny Evans, Jamie Vardy is his assistant.
Well, you know, Jamie Vardy's North American Football Club's gone bust, so he's not going to North America anytime soon. So he's going to be looking for a job as well.
Well, maybe they could do it. You remember when Martin O'Neill left, and was it Tony Cottee and that wanted to take over? Why not learn from the mistakes? Give him it. Give him the role.
Yeah. For me, Evans sideways. You see, the thing is, Terry. See, this is it. This is about perspectives, and you're very much. Fair point to you, and I respect you for it. You are very much in the Craig camp here, with Johnny Evans sort of playing it sideways, not doing anything with it. Of course, the other side of that is he doesn't do anything with it because there's nobody to do anything with it with, if that makes sense. You know, there's no point in playing it to a player that's got somebody behind them. That's because that's what FaZe and Suter do. So maybe that's why. And, you know, all right, it's going sideways. We've still got the ball. So, but I agree, it can be annoying at times, but maybe that's, you know, the other way to look at it. Mike says, how bad was used today, lads? Didn't watch it. You were lucky, mate. You were lucky. How did Newport get on, by the way? Oh, by the way, Mike, just to let you know, it is 50 minutes past 7. Sorry, it's a Man United fan. I had to say that. Sorry, Mike. Sorry. Problem is the new manager will start Vardy up top. I don't know. Not necessarily. Vardy, the non-impact sub that he has now become. And it is. Right, we're going to look at the game very briefly, and I mean very briefly. After this, we'll just go through the main parts of the game, and we'll do that straight after this.
Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
And don't forget tonight, 10:30, GB News. I'm with Mark Dolan. Join me, and I will try not to swear when I'm talking about the match. Looking at the match, we've got to talk about it. I'm sorry. Even when the producer at GB News rang me, he went, "Yeah, you do. We are going to have to talk about the match, you know." So I've got the sympathy on my side. Where are my notes? Here we go. Like I say, I wasn't happy with everybody showing the love to Wes Morgan, although Rogers thought it was lovely. Not Wes Morgan, what I'm saying, Wesley Fofana at the start.
I told you it's a French Voldemort.
Yeah, I should stick with that, shouldn't I? 15 minutes Chilwell put them 1-0 up. I mean, it was a good goal. Should Ward have stopped that one?
Yeah, he should have. He should have been preempting something because that ball was put over with deliberance to get over to his back post. So, what worries me about that goal, in particular, was if he wasn't prepared for Chilwell to have a go, which statistically you're not going to be thinking he's going to have a go. Was he prepared for then someone decent to be coming in who would usually hit the target and volley it in or header it in? Is a little bit concerning. So, yeah, for the first time in a while, I actually will agree with people and say that Danny Ward was at fault for a goal.
That said, there was also, I think, a defender in front that actually, I'm not sure whether he got out of the way or he twisted. Defenders don't want to get in the way of the ball these days, and the old pansies or what. You know, if the ball's coming towards you, you're a defender, put yourself in the way of the ball.
Yeah, but still, I have to agree with the comments and the commentators that said it at the time. You can maybe justify that, okay, you're not expecting a shot from there, but we've learned anything from football or life in general is, you know, he should be saving it.
Yeah. I'll let you. Do you want to answer that one for Trapper? I don't know why you right honourable gentlemen, very kind of you, sir, thank you very much, I'll continue to rail on our defence.
Because we know what they're capable of. We know Harry Souttar is quite a very no-nonsense like, and so is Wout Faes. But the problem is, first of all, and it is something we have with Wout Faes, and we know it as Leicester fans, and we accept it. We've seen it from get-go against his debut when he came on against Spurs all them months ago. Is he can be erratic and he can cost you more than he helps you sometimes, and he has them games where he's absolutely brilliant and he's a driving force from the back. It's just pure frustration, mate, that they just don't seem they always seem to be in two minds on whether to track back and run or whether they're supposed to stand where they are. Then they don't seem to have the trust and faith in each other that one of them's covering their back if the other one's pushing forward. There seems to be a complete lack of communication, and I am sick to death of seeing Chelsea. I was sick to death today of seeing Chelsea have 3 or 4 chances come from Harry Souttar and Wout Faes and even Amati standing still, watching the ball, wondering where it's going and not knowing where the other one was and not knowing what the job was. Yeah. I don't usually have a go at the defence too much. And Chris will back up when I talk about him when we usually do a ratings, and I'm very glad I'm not doing one tonight. But in terms of their performance tonight, they let us down as well, because for all the stick that and this isn't aimed at you, Trapper. This is aimed at fans and comments, and I can kind of warrant it a little bit today with certain things. But it's them fans that come out and trample over Danny Ward. I then in turn ask you what the fuck is he supposed to do when his defence don't do its job.
Yeah.
It's hard to save everything when your three defenders don't do the job.
Well, he goes on to say our goal difference is better than almost the entire bottom half of the table. Now, I'll answer that bit because, yes, it is. And I mentioned this before, that could be the difference between us staying up and going down. It is like having an extra point. Points I will make is the reason that we're only on -9, okay, goals scored. Nottingham Forest 21, Everton 20, Leicester City 37, Bournemouth 25, West Ham 23, Leeds 31, Southampton 20. We have scored more goals. Wolverhampton Wanderers scored 19, Crystal Palace 21. So I've taken you up to 12th there. We have scored more goals than anybody in that bottom 12. Well, let's have a look at how many goals we've conceded. We have conceded 46 goals. Now, Palace, 33. Wolves, 35. Forest, I must admit, 47. But that's, sorry, Luke. Everton, they've only conceded 38. Fair play to them. Bournemouth, 51. West Ham, 33. Leeds, 42. Southampton, 41. So, yes, we've got a better goal difference. And it's only because we are scoring the goals. But we're not scoring enough to cancel out what we're actually, conceding. And talking about conceding, that second goal, there's a picture going out and it's got Danny Ward just sat there going, no, he's not sat there, he stood there, sorry, going, I think something's just gone over my head.
Yeah, Danny Ward can't take the blame for that, though.
Was he positioned right, though? If you chipped, you've got to say you're a bit out the way of the goal, too far out.
Yeah, but Havertz had the entirety of the Leicester box all to his lonesome. He knew he had a very tiny Danny Ward stood in front of him, and he had the rest of that's how big it would have looked to Havertz with that ball play through to him, because he didn't have Faze, he didn't have Sutar, he didn't have Castagna, he didn't have Amarte, he didn't have Dewsbury, he didn't have a single Leicester player except for Danny Ward within 5 yards of him, mate. What's Danny Ward supposed to do? Because if he stands on his goal line, he gets it blasted past him. If he comes out and clatters him, he's probably given away a soft-ass penalty with VAR, let's face it. So, Danny Ward's in no man's land. Every keeper's different, so don't come on here first of all typing Casper would have spread himself. Yeah, Casper would have, but that's not Danny Ward as a goalkeeper. Keepers have different attitudes. There's nothing you can do.
You've just said to me, don't come on here. I'm sorry, it's my channel.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? Though, like, I know people typing it away.
It just made me laugh. That I'm like, hang on. It's like, when you say...
come here. Come to the show. But...
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to go home. Yeah, hang on. I am home.
Bye, Chris. See you later. But no,
I know your point you're making, and obviously I'm asking the questions to get you to answer those like that. I know that made me laugh. That did,
I know. I got very passionate about that.
But no, it's a good point. Not long after that, Dewsbury Hall hit the bar. I think it took a deflection and hit the bar.
It did.
Ifs, buts, and maybes. Had that gone in at 1-1, who knows? 34 minutes. It nearly went 3-0. It really became 3-0, but it nearly became 2-0. Sorry. I'm getting lost with how many goals are going in. There's that many disallowed. It went through and it was offside, but the Chelsea player that was in the middle was virtually stood on the centre spot. Do you know where the nearest Leicester player was?
Nowhere near him.
Outside the centre circle.
Nowhere near him. There's just not. There's not. There seems to be no visual awareness when it comes to us to having to do that defending part of football, and I just don't understand how we're not. It's like we're absolutely oblivious to anything unless it's going forward. I feel like now our defence is in a mindset where they give it to the midfield and go, please don't bring it this way, please don't lose it, because we don't know what to do if you do. You know, I just...
And I've got to be honest with you. Kind of sounding like Anthony now, aren't I? To be honest, I'm going to be honest. Now I'm going to lie to you and tell you all load of porkies. I don't like... I would have been quite happy to watch Match of the Day tonight with no pundits, and that's not because I think Gary Lineker should be sat. The arguments are that he could be, he's well overpaid for what he does, but I just don't like pundits. I'd sooner have an extra 5 minutes of all the different games than have to sit there and listen to the pundits analysing as to they should have done this, they should have done that. Yeah, and you should have done a lot when you were playing as well, and you didn't. Do you know what I mean? But on that particular occasion, the guy must have looked good. I've got the freedom of the king power here. It was centre spot, nobody in the centre, and he just passed it through. Luckily for us, the guy was offside. Now,
only just though.
Only just. We got away with one, I think you could say there. Another one of Chilwell's toenails. If I've ever been so happy for a player to score, and I couldn't celebrate straight away because the ref, like you said, the VAR were bloody awful today. They seemed to take their time. But Daka's goal.
I mean, first of all, I will say this about Daka. He needs to stop skipping leg day, along with a few of them. But his finish was good. Yeah. His finish just was that little glimpse of quality that we've seen from Daka. And the saddest thing is about the performances, whilst Brandon's at the wheel, we know that too. That too up front today won't be looked at, we got a goal, we were a bit more attacking, we actually were a bit unlucky. No, he'll look at his formation and go, well, I didn't win this game, so got to change it again. So he told you to up front doesn't work. That's how he'll see it. So it's sad to know that this is probably that, one-off appearance of two strikers, because the finish was good and it came from having more bodies forward and more options down that middle to go at, and he had the space to get it, because Leicester did have that period, didn't they, where they actually probably warranted being level.
Yeah.
So
this is the thing, right? How many shots did we have on target in the last two games?
Zero.
So no. Who do we play? Remind me. It was Blackburn. Was it Blackburn? No, league games. Who did we play before?
Southampton and Arsenal.
Arsenal. Yeah.
I think it was Arsenal.
So played Arsenal, no shots on target with one up front. Played Southampton, no shots on target with one up front for most of the game. Here we had two. We had 17 shots, 7 of which were on target. All right, they weren't converted into goals, but when you're making chances like that, you've got to say you might just get lucky. It might come off somebody's arse and go in. And I don't like to use this where if buts and maybes, like Gino De Campo said, if my grandma had wheels, should have been a bike. But we were at least, 7 shots after 180 minutes of no shots on target. He's got to surely look at that, and we know he won't, but look at that and go, well, actually, this formation, like you said, at least made us made us look to be attacking more.
Yeah, and that's literally where it's got to, that we don't even have faith in the fact that he'll look at the positives, come out and say what he said about how unlucky they were and how they actually deserve something, because, again, football's all done on a lot of aftermath, is all done on perspective, because had Leicester been sat in 12th and we got a few good results and carried on that form from that, we'd probably be looking at the game going, we were just a little bit poor with our final third, and that it just didn't happen. It'd be a different, that post match would be having, of course it would be. I think the scenario doesn't help that, but that was the thing. There is things from today's performance that you look at and think, that's it. But how many times have we sat here, Chris, and gone, Brendan, the answer staring you in the face? I don't know if he's got really bad broadband and he's got really bad lag delay, and he watches these videos and he's still a few episodes behind. But catch up, Brendan. You might get to the point where me and Chris and everybody in the comments keep saying 2 up front. Maybe he's finally caught up to that episode whenever we first started saying it.
I think Brendan's just, in his mind, just finished the Aston Villa game.
Yeah, probably.
Leicester for Life says, can't be bothered to work it out, but where would we be if we didn't beat Spurs and Villa? We would be 6 points worse off, which means we would be bottom of the table. Simple as that, because we're 3 points above bottom of the table. We've already been there this season. I'm glad to say normality has returned to the viewers of this channel. I think Anthony's laughing.
Wow.
Because if the poll question was, we'll leave it going for a bit longer, if Rodgers keeps us up, does he stay next season? And at one point, I think it was 50-50. The don't knows, well, the don't knows are in second place with 19%. Whoever's voted them, never buy a football club. Yes is sticking at the moment at 15%. And 67% are saying no, even if he keeps us up, he should be gone. So I've got to say, normality is returning. Good goal from Daka. Yes, it is. Nothing wrong with our attack today. It's our defence that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've just been saying that. But like I say, great to see Doug.
No. It is good to see Doug, but you meant Daka.
Daka. God.
Clip it. That was 1 minute and 15. 1 hour and 15. It was good to see Doug. Well done, Doug. Thanks, man. Good goal, Doug.
Where's Dave when you need him?
I know, right.
It's good to see Daka score. And then, as much as I've got to say here, as much as I was critical of Danny Ward for the first goal, and I'm going to be honest with you, in my eyes, the second goal as well, and we would agree to disagree with that, he did then suddenly do a couple of really good saves.
Yeah, he did, because within 30 seconds, Chelsea had a corner and he made a great save. He made a few other saves throughout the game. And this is what I mean. People are easy to criticise and pick on a player, and I don't always get it. I don't think sometimes people can entertain the idea that players are of a different standard and of a different style. You know, like Chilwell got a lot of grief because, and Chelsea fans occasionally give him the same grief that we did, is he'd stand on the ball and stop any momentum, and Luke Thomas has that sort of trait. That's called a defensive wing back, and that's what they were played as when they played at Leicester. And I know he left on a bit of dodgy terms. You know, it's never nice to see a homegrown talent want to leave and get the move. But I think we some people look at this game today, right? Would they be blaming Iverson for any of them goals? I'm not an Iverson hater. I'm all for the development and another good steady number two to take the reins when the time comes. But would you be berating Iverson as much as you are Danny Ward if he was making similar mistakes? And would you be backing Iverson to make the saves that Danny Ward's made? Because I don't think he saves one of them, Iverson, because the goal he conceded against Blackburn, he didn't react to it. Danny Ward did react to it and made a save that was similar to one that Iverson went in. So it's all about perspective sometimes. I mean, Amati somehow manages to skillfully avoid that and never bring it into question. But Danny Ward, for me, there's not a lot he did wrong today, because he did stop that score getting out of control and a bit crazy.
He did. Well, him and VAR, of course.
Yes.
Love Leicester, thank you for popping in. I've starred that. We will come back to your question at the end. We then had that discussion about the penalty. We had a chat about it before we came live. I think I've seen them given.
It's deliberate. He does it. He knows what he's doing. He's just doing what any smart player knows he'll get away with, especially playing for a team like Chelsea. They know they'll get away with it. Because if you jump up and it hits your elbow, that's not a penalty. But when you jump up and deliberately throw your elbow in a direction you know the ball's going past because you're not going to get there with your head on and stop it, it's a penalty. But then, do you remember that game against Man City when De Bruyne literally did that? Went, no, don't hit me. I'm protecting my face, and they didn't give it.
Yeah,
it's like that. But I mean, I mentioned this to you backstage because we actually got confused, didn't we, over which decision we was talking about at first. Yeah. Do you mind if I ask the audience, as they say, Chris?
You're not going to phone a friend, but I haven't got any friends. The audience.
Yeah, well, I haven't got any friends to phone, so that makes that easy.
That, but You know, what can I say?
You thought it, I'll say it, don't worry. But here's a question for you. Maybe I only saw the replay once and maybe I haven't seen any of it. But can anyone explain to me why Hazard wasn't sent off for deliberate handball? Because there was a moment, and I timed it, kind of like what you do when you get your clip edits and you note it down. It was about 52nd minute, 53rd minute. The ball bounces either off the turf or off his boot and goes away from Kai Havertz. And this is what I did. I don't know if anybody actually paid attention or really picked up on it. But I'm not saying that if a ball bounces and it comes back at you and spins towards you and hits you in your arm, it's a free kick, it's a yellow card. That's not deliberate handball. That's what you call accidental handball. Now, it wasn't until I saw the replay of it that I actually realised that Hazard didn't use his hand to swat the ball away. But as that ball bounced away from Hazard and he knew a Leicester player was going to get end of it, he flung his shoulder forward. He flung his arm into the ball to stop it, to stop that ball in its tracks. Now, if I'm correct, again, people in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong, is the definition of deliberate handball, which is a red card offence, not a case of when a player uses the hand or arm as an obstruction or a method of blocking the ball illegally with their arm or hand? Now, if you throw your arm, literally he threw his arm. He didn't bounce at him and hit him. He threw his arm at him to stop that ball going forward and stop going to Leicester player. Why is that not deliberate handball? And why was Kai Havertz still on the pitch? Because my understanding of that rule is that's a red card. He literally stopped the ball going through with his arm. He literally prevented the Leicester player getting the ball. So is that not deliberate? Is that not? Am I misunderstanding the term deliberately? Because I'm pretty sure.
I don't think any of us understand the rules anymore, do we?
Yeah, because I don't know. I'm just pretty sure if he deliberately used his arm to stop the ball, then it's an offence which was given, and surely deliberate handball.
But they did get a second. We'll see if any answers come up. They're not as yet in the chat. They did go ahead. You know, we accuse Spurs of being Spursy.
Well, Leicester-y.
Are we Leicester-y? Is that because I said last week, I said, we're on top, we haven't taken advantage, they're going to get a goal before half-time. What did they do? They got a goal before half-time. We were in injury time at the end of the first half when they got their goal. I mean, surely a manager's job is to look at what we do wrong and correct it.
You would think that. You really would think that. And I can't even insult schoolboy level football by saying it was a schoolboy error, because it wasn't even that, mate. It's like I said to you, it was like our defence, for whatever reason, whether it's where they're instructed to stand when we've not got the ball, or whatever the reasoning or rhyme is behind it, because I can't fathom a reason or rhyme behind why it happened. But they made 5-a-side or 6-a-side pitch errors because they were like players that can't really play football, weren't the most talented of players, so they kick the ball away and hope that nobody runs at them. And the second Chelsea play the ball over the top of them, because they don't have that footballing brain to understand that a player could be running behind, they just watch the ball. I don't understand how players that we know are far more talented ball watch and allow that ball to drop in behind with 30 seconds of play left to go. You took your own momentum, turned around, told Danny Ward to stand out the way and booted it in your own net. You might as well have told Wildface to catch the ball, turn around and boot it in his own net for all it was worth, because that was just how frustratingly bizarre and annoying it was that Leicester seemed so lacklustre and careless. I mean, Chris, when they scored, I kind of went, is he offside? Is that why there's no one within 10 yards of him? Is it not going to count? Oh, no, it counts. Okay. Well, how the hell did we allow that? It's just...
Yeah. Half-time. Would you have expected any substitutions to be made?
No, because we had that, because minus that 30, 40, 50 seconds or whatever that we switched off for their goal, we'd wrestled the momentum. The crowd got their voices a bit louder because they were quite loud, but obviously we're losing the game. It's nervous and we'd lost our way a bit. We'd managed to get ourselves back up to pace how we were in that first 7 or 8 minutes before Chelsea took the lead. We started to have a little bit of reinsurance of what we were doing, and literally until, like I said, that last minute of for argument's sake, of the stoppage time, was good from Leicester. They looked like the team. That all of a sudden you sat there as Leicester fans feeling this foreign entity called hope and optimism, because we looked like the team that was going to score.
Yeah.
Until that goal. So there wasn't a need to change it, because you felt if they go out with that mentality, there's still a chance Leicester could get something. But hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it?
It is. It is indeed. It has all finished, obviously, at Selhurst Park. Palace lost by 1-0, thanks to a penalty from guess who?
Erling Haaland. Yeah, I saw it. I was just happy to see Man City won, just so we got points this week. As in,
can I just say, so far, Steve has got 2 points. We've got almost as many points as Leicester here, haven't we? Brad, you've got 2 points.
Hey, 2-2. Finally got to get some way.
Having a Desmond, and I mean, you've got to get away, because he really is coming good for you on Steve. So you two have got 2 points, and
I don't know. It's so difficult not to look smug at this point.
Somebody's got 3, and it happens to be me. But we've all got all day tomorrow and next week to go. So
yeah, just to get it all go wrong and all end up on like 5 points or something.
Yes, yeah. So no changes at half time. At 65, Mendy off, who I thought was having a fairly okay game. Sumari on. Amate came off for Barnes, and Daka came off for Tete.
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird one, which was even more concerning, because look, I like Barnes. I think Tete's got a chance to do something here if he's given the opportunity. But my issue was the shape change didn't happen. I was still kind of thinking, okay, do that, but can we keep 2 up front? And he went back to 4-3-3, and I just wasn't that impressed with his cup fold into it, because despite the result, despite where we were, whilst I felt we needed a change, and he took Amate off, which I think probably got the biggest cheer of the day for a lot of fans. But when he changed to a back line of 4, it was like, right, are you going to go for an old Mike Bassett? Are you going to give us the 4-4-2 we've been demanding? And when he did that, it was kind of like, you've just changed you've changed what we were about and what we were doing. In terms of the players that came on, I had no issues with them. I think they're good players. Look, we've talked about Vardy. I'm not saying anymore. We know it's not his fault that he's getting chucked on to try and win us a game when he should be on enjoying football and making the opponent's lives a misery, not giving them something to have a dig at him when we're 2 and then 3-1 down. But that aside, there was nothing wrong with the changes. It was just the shape that he then put us in that did it for us.
Yes, yeah. And, I mean, to be honest with you, you could argue again that Inchy wasn't going to get a goal. The Vardy coming on was the 75th minute. It's just after Kieran Dewsbury's whole fluff, if you like. I mean...
Akinbaye. Just call it an Akinbaye. Yeah, that could be a Leicester phrase.
But do you think that sums Leicester up? Do you think a confident Kieran Dewsbury Hall puts that away?
Yeah, he does. Of course he does, because we've seen it. We've seen Madison do it. We've seen Barnes do it. Bloody hell, once in a blue moon, we've actually seen Mendy do it. They can put the ball in the back of the net when they're rolling with confidence. And again, I know it's all hypothetical to say that, but if Leicester actually switch on and get in at half-time 1-1, and they do start that half better, and they're looking confident and feeling confident that actually we're going to be the team that gets the next goal, I think he scores it if it's 1-1. I think on a different game, he tucks it away there. He's just, I mean, I came in the chat, didn't I? And so I think the Leicester players a skip leg day. I think they do, because they were falling all over the place today. And do you remember and I'm not comparing them in seasons as how they turned out, but you remember the Great Escape season, and we said that we see the players are trying, and everything that could go is going against us. We're having goals. Obviously, VAR, the cursed thing that it is, wasn't invented. And I say invented, wasn't used in football that season. We kept getting goals go against run of play. We just couldn't seem to stick the ball in the net, and it just seemed that it was going to. Even opposition managers and players that were interviewed against us were going, "No way they'll stay bottom if they keep going like this," because they just need the look to change. You just don't get that feeling for it. It almost like that summed up how desperate we were for a little bit of luck to fall our way, because we know what happens. We missed that chance, and Leicester of old wouldn't let it affect them, but you only felt that one thing was going to happen afterwards. And unfortunately for Dewsbury Hall, who's probably wishing the world would swallow him up for missing that chance and what could have been, you know, we went on and lost that game, and now that's something, an added pressure on whoever it is. Because I'm going to say Rodgers, but hopefully we can hope something happens there. But it's another thing you just don't need to have to deal with, is another drop in mentality. Yeah. That chance being missed.
But of course, we've seen Vardy do it. I mean, all players do miss. And like you say, sometimes, I mean, I think we need to get a win. Well, I don't know if we do get a win. We didn't after Tottenham. We didn't carry it on, but I don't know. Look, it could have been 3-1 on the 73rd minute, but VAR again came to our rescue. But then it was on the 77th minute. That one counted.
Yeah, and firstly, what I want to say, and I'm going to say this little bit about it, Chelsea should be ashamed of themselves. I just want to get this point out. Because their feigning play acting was shambolic. They hounded the referee, right? They fell over for 20 minutes, right? And this is when we had them on the back foot, believe it or not, right? For 20 minutes, we had them on the back foot. They were feigning injuries. And I've got into many a debate and argument between cheating and feigning being what's wrong with the sport, right? I'm not saying there wasn't contact with these players, but by God, was it disgusting to see. Some of their players staying down, and then when we did it to their players, hounding the referee, we got on with it because we weren't getting decisions. That's one thing I will give us credit today. We got annoyed with them, but we got on with it, right? We left Madders, who was captain supposedly today. Apparently, I don't know who's captain with Leicester. It's like a lucky dip. But they were feigning injuries, and that Muric knew he were offside. Don't tell me you're not looking at the linesman in this division. Don't tell me you're not a professional footballer that doesn't know. Don't get your hopes up on the Premier League score. Give the linesman a look first, because that lady linesman who did a terrific job today in that decision making, I'll give her that right. Yeah, fair play to the official on this one. It was the man in the middle I had my qualms with his inconsistencies, but he flagged. Yeah, well, the name says it all. But she flagged straight away. Did you need to go and run in the corner? You didn't even hesitate. You were the only one. There was no teammates near you. Nobody ran. The Chelsea went back, and you did that on purpose. You young Scandinavian or wherever you're from. I can't remember. I forget. I'm not annoyed at it. And one thing that really disappoints me is I know they got the result and they'll be pleased with it and buzzing, and I assure you it won't get mentioned. But that's a sort of desperity for me. That was a desperate 20 minutes for Chelsea, and that's one thing that will come and bite them in the arse, I think, after this. I hope it does, because I don't like it. I don't like it when we do time wasting like that.
You are preaching to the converted here, because you know me. I'm saying, look, VAR shit on most of the time, but let's use it when we can for something good, and that is retrospective red cards for diving cheating, because the managers will soon cut it out when they start losing players. Talking about red cards, it was a bookable, that second booking. I can't remember the first booking, if I'm honest with you, but that second one, on its own, it wasn't a straight red, but it deserved a yellow, and obviously it already had a yellow.
Yeah, and again, you're talking about we had so many moments today that could have summed up how both teams' seasons are going. I think Chelsea fans would be very remiss in saying that some things they did today and some things they saw today were summing up how their season's been throughout. And it was another one of them where it's not reckless, he's not done it with intent, he's not given up, but he's just, I think he was just at a point where he's like, oh, for God's sake, I've done this, or this has happened again, get the ball, and frustration's killed over it's foul. It is a sending off. It's a second yellow. It's a lazy sort of tackle in a way. It's definitely a second buckle, but he's not done it down in tools or anything like that. He's just got frustrated, had enough, and wanted to get the ball back, and he's not done it right. Again, we could sit. Yeah, but again, though, Chris, we could sit here and argue a toss all night, couldn't we, about it? Because I'm sat here going, Kai Havertz shouldn't have been on the pitch, and Wesley Fofana should have given away a penalty. So it's just one of them. Again, things aren't going your way, and I'm not, like I said, I'm agreeing that it's a yellow card, but look at other incidents.
Yeah,
we're now living in a world where the officiating things is the only part of this sport. Is the only sport where two wrongs can make a right. Because bad officiating got levelled out, bad or good.
Yeah. I want to make this point because there's so much of this going on now, and I've got to ask myself sort of why. There is so much of players treading on other players' feet.
Yeah,
I don't mean kicking ankles. I don't mean sliding down the shins. Actually, physically treading on their feet. You don't watch a game without it happening at least twice.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is the one thing, this is one of the bigger things that you're potentially going to ruin / take out of the game that people really liked in a way. Because you ask any ex-pro, and they're all bloody famous YouTubers now, aren't they? They're all bloody famous YouTubers or on someone's channel doing something and telling these stories. Jimmy Bullard is a classic one on Soccer AM and on his golf thing he does with tubes. If you watch Soccer AM, you know what I'm on about, or if you know Jimmy Bullard and football, you know what I'm on about. But they tell stories, right? And some of the stories they tell when they're talking about games, certain political games, talk about this incident, what was all that about, and how did that start? And it's like talking about how he got in a fight with a player, what was that about, how did that actually start? And he'll tell it in a great way. He's a great storyteller, Jimmy Bullard. He's one of my favourites to listen to when it's stuff like that. But he said, just get on his nerves, just jabbing him an elbow, standing on his toes, getting on his heels, whining him all poor game. That's what I was doing. And then he tell the rest of the story to what everybody remembers. But they're the details of the game that we love. We love a little bit of hustle and bustle, a hard challenge and that. And with VAR, it's getting flagged up. It's not new to the game. Players haven't started just doing it since VAR's come in. They've been doing it for years, and it's a part of the game you need. You like, as a player, to be able to go up to your opposite number in any sport and let them know that you're not going to be in my back. I'm going to have you in my back pocket today. You're not doing a thing without my say-so.
Steve Walsh, Roy Keane, they all. But I could not remember having seen so many times of foot's being trod on by other players, but I
think he shows a little bit of passion, at least, that they were up for fighting to beat Chelsea today or get something from Chelsea with how they tried to go about it. And the thing is, it wasn't seen as such a big hysterical offence in the 90s and 2000s, mate. That's probably why we're seeing more of it. It's just more seeable as like, he's on his toe, that looks worse. It's like, but now you're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill with some of the decisions and VAR checks you're having.
Madison came off at the end, Evans came on, and I thought at this end, and Luke was in the chat with me at the watch along, and he was saying, what the bloody hell are you bringing a defender on? You're defending a 3-0 loss, which is normally what Rodgers does, in fairness. But I did understand it when I thought about it, thinking because we've got one centre back. He needs to just get that, and he may well be turning up for Northern Ireland as well. So he did need to get on the pitch. At the end, there was a lot of chants. I don't know if there's any booing, and as you know, I don't have the side here. There was anti-Rodgers chants after the at the end. UK says here, Rodgers said the supporters are disappointed we didn't get the result, but it doesn't affect me. But they made it very clear, didn't they? They wanted Rodgers out with those chants.
Problem is, we've been making it clear for weeks. We've seen them away. We've heard them on the radio. We've heard them on the match of the day. We've heard them today. And not every time we've heard boos at the King Power away, it's been towards the manager. Manchester United officials. Stuart Atwell. Sorry, I had a really big frog in my throat there.
I almost thought you said Stuart Atwell in the middle, but I just heard you coughing.
I know. I thought it sounded a little bit like that. I can assure you it didn't mean to sound like Stuart Atwell was a twat. Anything like that. But for the majority of the time, we're booing because, yes, we've lost the game and that. And again, we've talked about it before. Sometimes you can lose a game, and we don't like to lose a game. Nobody likes to lose a game, but sometimes you can it's easy to accept when you play well, and sometimes you can even applaud the effort and it doesn't turn up. But it's when it's just you look back at that performance now and look at the, or even if you just did like an extended highlights of the chances that both teams had, you probably look at it and think that's an opportunity missed, which is more frustrating. You made the changes to negativity when we were 2-1 down. You put on the gospel child, the gospel child of Leicester in Vardy on when it was not needed. It needed to be Daka and Iacho, one of them kept up as a lone striker. And it's just everything convoluted today that when the full-time whistle went, it meant Leicester were a point outside the relegation zone. They're dejected, they're barely scoring, they're losing 5 games in a row, and the circumstances around the defeat just make for frustration, and I can't blame the fans. Something needs to change, and it's so obvious that if the powers that be don't make that decision for us soon, then I might have to develop my own faith. So I don't know. I think you need about 3,000 people to sign up to start a new religion. Maybe we should have a religion, football Leicester fans religion, where we just pray and hope that if this clown is left in charge, that he keeps us up and then is sacked.
Yeah. Can I just say, I am checking as we speak, and I'm not ignoring you, but I am checking all the websites just to see if there's any news about a sacking. Unfortunately, there's not. But it's early yet. Apparently, Chelsea fans rage as Amati isn't even booked for kicking Havertz in the chest. I saw it in his chest. It was very red, but I didn't see what had happened.
Basically, Amati got to the ball first. He's running at full power, and so Havertz rightly going for the ball, but he was never going to get there. And as Amati gets the ball and his legs in the air, as he's starting to project it downwards, it does Hazard. It's not Hazard. You know what I mean? Havertz.
Yeah.
It looks bad, and even the commentators saying they can't look at it too long because it'll get worse in slow motion. It is a high foot. It was a high foot. It did go into his chest, but there was no malice in it. He was just being over energetic to get the ball, and he got the ball. It was a fair challenge. It was a fair win of the ball. Unfortunately, Havertz had the same idea. Was a little bit slow to the taking off, and he got a boot to the chit. It's so different to say. Someone might come in here, a certain Man United fan might turn up here and say I'm being contradictory to what that Sabitzer did against us, but it's completely different. Sabitzer knew what he was doing and was deliberately going to hurt our player, I still feel. And Marty was trying to win the ball, did his job, and Havertz just ran full pelt into him.
Love Leicester is asking there, Chris, the question is, where do you think we will finish? Now, I've absolutely no idea. But let me turn that round on you, Brad, and say to you, I'm going to read you out the upcoming games. How many points do you think I know you hate it when I do this to you, which is why I'm doing it.
No, I love it when I do this because I get to be uber negative and people get to think that.
So I am going to read you the games out up until the middle of April.
Okay.
Because then we meet Manchester City. God, we've got so many games. It goes right into the end of May this year, doesn't it? I keep forgetting. So we've got Brentford away next week.
Loss.
We've got Palace away the following Saturday. We'll
win that one.
Hang on, let me write this down. So you've got 3 points so far. 2 games, 3 points. We then on the Tuesday got Aston Villa at home.
We'll draw.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. And then on the Saturday, we entertain my local team, Bournemouth.
We'll lose.
Lose? Oh, I thought we'd get a point, to be honest with you.
No, because that's the story of this season. Just when we start to think we're pulling ourselves away, some team might say Bournemouth beats us.
So out of a possible 12 points, you've given us 4. That is definitely relegation form, isn't it?
Well, that's because exactly what form Leicester are on at the moment, and the league position suggests that. So, if anyone can convince me of any more reasons why we should get more points than 4, have at it. Do tell me, because honestly, the way we have been this season, you could probably maybe at a push say Villa we go and win, but you know exactly what follows. We will lose to Bournemouth. You just know we will. That's nailed on. That will happen.
Well, after that we're away at Man City. That's just
Massacre.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do that.
You can do the rest if you want, Chris. I'll go through the rest of the season with you. You can figure out how many points Leicester are going to get and if it's going to be enough to stay away. I could do this all day, mate, with Leicester.
Well, we'll get nothing there. We've got Wolves after that.
That'll be a 0-0 and an advert for Johnson's baby shampoo.
Leeds away
sorry.
On a Tuesday.
Who was that?
Leeds away.
Lose that.
Sorry.
Yeah, we'll lose that.
Okay. Then on the Monday night on Sky, we are hosting Everton.
We'll lose that.
Then we go away to Fulham.
We'll lose that.
Oh God. We then host Liverpool.
We'll beat them.
No, we fucking won't.
Yeah, we will. Honestly, no, we'll beat them. We'll beat them. We'll beat them, and I will say that Johnny Evans will be in charge by that game, and that's what we'll do. It'll be a Shakespeare all over again.
Then we go up to Newcastle.
We'll get hammered.
And then on the last day of the season, the Sunday, and we'll probably be doing a Super Sunday again like we did last season, we are hosting relegation rivals at West Ham United.
We'll thrash them. We'll beat West Ham.
Right, so you are going to give us 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to give us 11 points between now and the end of the season.
I said 35 plus to stay up.
Yeah, that will give us 35. And I'm sorry, I don't think Liverpool... Bournemouth can beat them, but we won't beat Liverpool. It's going to be tight. It's going to be tight.
This is the madness of this season, Chris. We have a habit of just going, how the hell did we do that and then lose to these? It's Leicester. I don't think we'll get any other points more than that, though, either way. No matter how... Might get them different ways than what I've just said, but that's where I'm at.
Right. Okay, we're not going to judge. I'm just going to literally quickly run through what Jordan has given the players. On the BBC with the Leicester fans, Maddison was our top player with 5.72. And then let's have a look what Jordan has been doing. He has given Danny Ward got a 5. Daniel Amati got a 5.
Disagree.
Harry Souttar got a 7.
Disagree.
Wout Faes got a 5.
Disagree.
Pierre got a 5.
Agree.
Dewsbury Hall got a 5.
I love him, but disagree.
Papa Mendy got 7.
I feel sorry for Mendy, and I kind of agree. So I'd be giving him a 6. So yeah, agree. Go on. I'll just do it this way. It's easier.
Anyway. Him off was booed apparently. Castagna got a 6.
Disagree.
He gave Maddison a 7.
I'm gonna have to kind of agree with that because Maddison gave it something. Yeah, okay.
And then Inacho and Daka both got 6s.
Disagree with Inacho. We do it for Vardy. We do it for anyone else. So I'd give. Yeah, I agree with the 6 for Daka because at least he scored. But Inacho, I disagree with as well.
Yeah. Steve says here, if we get a new manager, it might change the way we think. It is. It's just a simple like, God, it wasn't working. We're losing week in. It is a new thought, fresh ideas. Accidentally played on the hard. Oh, sorry, that's going on about the injury. Who was your man of the match?
I'm trying to think of a performance that stood out to me, Chris. I know he had an Akinbaye moment, but he had the most shots. But I can't give it Dewsbury all because he was a bit naff today as well. Ask me again next week. Can you do that?
No.
No.
Shall I give you mine for while you're thinking?
I'm going to give it Ricardo, funny enough. I am actually going to give it Ricardo because I thought he was everywhere today. He was trying to chase everything today. I would give it Ricardo. It's nice to see him back and putting in someone wearing a shirt with a bit of pride about them and what they're doing.
Well, I'm just having a look at the heat map here, and he was up and down that wing a lot. But in fairness, as was Amati. I mean, Amati,
which is fucking worrying when your centre back's gone travelling up right wing.
Yeah, I mean, Amati was up there. I tell you what, I would have given it to, if I'm honest with you, and that's Captain James Maddison, because he was the one that seemed to want to make things happen. You know, everybody else. I mean, you know, we had a corner, and suddenly it'd end back up with Ward. You know, and Mike was going to have to come back, and he was trying to get the ball and make things happen. Very rarely came off, unfortunately, but at least he was trying to. But like we say, we weren't there. We weren't there, man. We don't know.
We weren't there.
That wasn't a very good impersonation. But then again, you know, that was actually Brendan Rodgers, but I have to apologise. I might have given you the wrong impression there. So, come on.
Oh, okay, I'll give you a laugh for it. It was better than my impression of Brendan Rodgers.
No, it wasn't. That's the joke. I've given you the wrong impression.
You're funny.
When you explain them, it's just not the same, is
it? When it goes over my head, that's just it. Everybody else in the comments is laughing. Yeah. Now you get chuckled at me for not understanding it.
But right, hang on, let me make a note of the time. That might just get clipped, 1:51. Talking of clipping, what did he say here? Leicester for Life said, I saw that thing when someone asked Dave, what do you think of Amati, and he showed Iggle Piggle. Leicester for Life, how did you know it was Iggle Piggle?
All I know is, right, due to having some siblings, that I knew that I know it's from like a CBB show, that things, and I'm pretty sure that stuffed creature that Dave put on had more brain cells than Brendan Rodgers today.
Well, we would agree on that. I've got to be honest with you. Once you get past, I had 4 children. 2 of them were with Teletubbies, and 2 of them were with what was the other one that followed Tweenies?
Tweenies. I was going to say, now you're talking my language of growing up shows. I had to watch them with my younger siblings.
Yes, I had to watch them with my kids. But anyway, we weren't. No, I'm not going to do it again. We weren't there. But as you know, Alan Bennett, I honestly thought he might have come back with. Not going to give it to anybody this week. He hasn't, and he went for Mr. Mendy. And can I just? I mean,
I'd like to. Yeah, sorry, go on. Go on.
There was I can't remember the gentleman. I think it was somebody called David that was in the Facebook group, because of course I post these to the Facebook group before the show. And last week he picked Maddison, and so I put the thing in, and he commented. He went, "No way is Maddison worth a 10."
Oh, the shirt number.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like,
oh yeah. There's no way that I can't believe he's given Mendy a 24 out of 10. I'm disappointed. I can't believe it.
I nearly put that in and tagged him in and went, by the way, this isn't Mendy. Mendy didn't get 24 points this week. But I thought, I'm not going to highlight it again, but it did make me laugh. But little note said, I think you'll find that's his shirt number. So it wasn't in the graphic anyway. But yeah,
he'd be screwed if Danny Ward ever got a man of the match award from him.
How did he get it and only get 1 point? Yeah, you're quite right. But yeah, And he was booed, like I say, when he came off. So fair play. And I was surprised he came off. I didn't think particularly Sumari offered much different when he came on, if I'm honest with you. But look, how have we managed to talk for nearly 2 hours about that game?
Because the pain on the inside is real.
Yes. You know what they say about talking about things supposed to help, and a problem shared is a problem halved. Fucking not, is it? It's still hurting. No.
It still hurts, but a therapist would have hurt your pockets more.
This is true.
So at least we offer free therapy here for you lot. So you better subscribe.
We do. And look, I need to just show you this because Jerry's top with 13, but coming up, and be careful how I say this, coming up hard behind, it's myself and Ian Marshall on 12. Pulling away from fourth place, Brad, who is equal fourth with Ian, 2 points ahead of Steve Walsh. Craig is languishing bottom with Steve Lynex on 5. I'm sure Craig's doing it just so he doesn't make Steve Lynex feel a little bit left out. But
poor Steve.
Second. Poor Steve. I tell you what, you say, poor Steve. He's getting too bloody good at. As soon as he started writing them down, he's. I don't know why it is, but he suddenly started doing well. Not that I wasn't marking it correctly before, of course. You know.
Oh yes, that old one.
That old one, yes, indeed. Right, Brad. Thank you so very, very much, young man.
No.
Oops. Hang on.
Rude.
I meant to say that. Give everybody a shout out where they can find you. That's what I should have done.
You can find me on my YouTube channel. I can't even speak today, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot speak. You find me on my YouTube channel, Top 10 Battles. I nearly did it again there. Check me out there. Follow me on Twitter at my Twitter handle is at Fulltime Focus. And yeah, do you good stuff here, folks. Drop a like on the video and
did it again?
Great work. We're like Leicester's defence today. We're just falling apart at the vital times.
We are. Nerves are getting to me. James, thank you very much, young man. We got you coming up soon, so if you want to do, or if you'd like to come on the preview show, we would be most welcome. Mike, do you want to stick around and we'll have a chat afterwards? And let me just put the link in here. And then we'll talk Formula One if you are available, Mike. If you want to come in, let me just paste. The channel that I am on is, let me just put it back up there for you. It's been there all the time. GB News at 10:30. Myself and the man with the steel balls, as they say. We will be back Monday night with the Question Time show. I have a feeling we might be talking managers.
Yeah, only for the 19th time this year.
I know. Well, I think we should have a Nathan Jones special. Brad, on that note, take care, buddy. Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah, sorry, wrong fingers. I meant to salute you, mate. Not give you the middle finger for it.
You're definitely getting removed now. I'll see you Monday at 9. Take care, buddy.
See you Monday.
There you go. He's gone. How dare he? How dare he do that to me? No. Be sure to check out Brad's channel, Top 10 Battles. It is a really good channel if you like your quizzes and your fun. Where am I later on? Yep, 10:30, Mike. Like I say, I will just show you what I'm on. I am on that. Mark Dolan tonight. The man from Balls of Steel on Channel 4 won an award for it at 10:30, and I am slightly nervous. I don't know why, because I've done telly before, but not done it for a while. So if you want to watch a grown man make a balls up of himself, there we go. So check me out at 10:30. I think it's Channel 238, something like that. It's in that news section, certainly on YouView. I don't know what it is on Sky and all the others, but thank you so very much. Oh, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Just when you think it can't get any worse, we have to play another match. I will be back after the news tonight. I will be back with you 9 o'clock, like I say, Monday for the question time. I think we could have an open forum. So if you want to come on and ask questions, get in. Monday at 9 o'clock, we will discuss your questions and we'll leave it at that. We usually pick one to start with, but we're going to go straight in with your questions, I think, on Monday. You are welcome, Nate. You are welcome. It's easier to share the pain, isn't it? Mike, couple of minutes as if you want to join us. If not, not a problem. I will see you all. See you all tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV on Twitch. And if you've been listening to us on your favourite podcast platform, whatever that may be, thank you very much for doing that as well, for lending me your ears. You can have them back now. As normal, at the end of the show, got to bring my friend in. You don't know. You weren't there. Come on, Arnie.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You'd better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
I'm looking for Dr. Goodhead.